Okay, let's unpack this. We've got your sources on the Nicole Levelle case, and it's a truly heartbreaking incident. It really illustrates the complex duality of our digital world, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, for all the amazing connections the internet can foster, you see how it's also sort of leveled up some of humanity's less desirable traits, like online predation.
Exactly. It's no longer just confined to a physical space, you
Mm.
know? It's faceless, it can be anonymous, hiding behind screens.
Mm.
Yet these same digital spaces, the ones that can be breeding grounds for negativity, they've also become a refuge for so many, a safe space to connect and, well, express themselves.
And what's truly fascinating here and deeply concerning is how the lines between perceived online safety and very real-world risk, they just blur so easily.
Yeah.
It raises a huge question for all of us, really.
Yeah.
How do we, and maybe especially young people, how do we navigate this increasingly complex digital landscape where intentions can be so easily disguised?
That is precisely the question brought into sharp, tragic focus by this 2016 case we're diving into. The case of 13-year-old Nicole Levelle from Blacksburg, Virginia. Her story. It's a stark warning for our digital age.
Mm.
Nicole's young life, I mean, it had already been filled with more battles than most people face in a lifetime. She sounds like she was a really bright light, interested in music, singing, dancing, even had dreams of American Idol.
Wow.
But she'd also been through some harrowing health challenges right from infancy. A liver transplant at just 10 months old for a rare tumor, which meant daily anti-rejection medication.
Oh my goodness, daily medication at that age.
Yeah. And then a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at age 4. That led to a 6-month coma and a really serious staph infection. So understandably, she spent a lot of time in and out of hospital.
It's just hard not to be moved by her resilience, isn't it? To have fought for her life from such a young age, overcoming these huge physical challenges. It just makes the ultimate tragedy even more heartbreaking. She was already a survivor long before any of this.
Absolutely. And tragically, her struggles continued. At school, she was relentlessly bullied, especially apparently over the visible scars from her childhood surgeries.
Oh, that's awful. Kids can be so cruel.
Yeah. And this, understandably, it drove her to seek connection online, to express feelings, of not feeling loved. Her mom, Tammy, she was very aware of Nicole's challenges, made sure she was always supervised.
Right.
Which is why what happened on January 27th, 2016 was such a profound shock. Tammy found Nicole's bedroom door blocked from the inside. The window was open. And her favorite Minion's blanket was missing.
Oh, no.
Nicole, who absolutely needed that daily anti-rejection medication, she'd snuck out.
Wow.
Tammy immediately called the police, and they took the disappearance very seriously, especially, given the medication requirement. That adds a whole layer of urgency.
Definitely. A critical vulnerability.
And the Blacksburg community. They were unfortunately familiar with rallying together after the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting. They quickly joined the search. Over 1,200 people, even using drones, helped comb the area.
That level of immediate community engagement, it really underscores the gravity of the situation. A medically vulnerable 13-year-old missing. It shows how quickly an online concern or whatever let her out can become a critical real-world crisis.
But then, just 2 days later, January 30th, the worst possible fears were confirmed.
Oh, gosh.
Nicole's lifeless body was found about 90 miles away in Surrey County, North Carolina, just off a highway. She'd been stripped of her clothes and stabbed 14 times, a fatal blow to the neck.
14 times, dear God.
It immediately turned from a missing persons case into a homicide investigation. But here's where a critical breakthrough emerged, right from Nicole's own bedroom. Investigators discovered a really crucial lead.
What was it?
Inside her closet, etched into the door, was a message. "I love David."
Wow.
And not just that, she'd also scribbled down all her usernames and passwords to her online accounts, like right there.
Oh, that's interesting. And telling.
Yeah, it quickly became clear that Nicole had really ramped up her online activity recently, particularly on this anonymous messaging app called Kik.
Kirk.
Yeah.
Right. That app was really popular with teens back then, partly because of the privacy features, the often unmonitored chats. That discovery of "I love David" alongside her digital keys, it's incredibly significant.
From an investigative standpoint, how quickly can law enforcement usually leverage those kinds of digital breadcrumbs, especially with apps like Kirk?
Well, that's a great question, and in this instance, time was absolutely critical. The police used what's called an emergency disclosure request.
Okay.
It's basically a legal tool that lets them get expedited access to communication data when there's an imminent threat of serious harm, like in a potential abduction or homicide situation.
Got it. So it bypasses some of the usual waiting periods.
Exactly. And through that, they were able to access Nicole's Kirk messaging history. And they found she'd been messaging pretty extensively for months with a user named Dr. Tombstone.
Dr. Tombstone. Okay. Not subtle.
Not subtle at all. And that digital trail, that username, it led them directly to an 18-year-old Virginia Tech freshman, David Eisenhower.
An 18-year-old college student.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. So this deep dive into Nicole Levelle's case, it's taken us through just a chilling journey, hasn't it? From the life of this really resilient young girl to, well, a meticulously planned murder.
It really has.
We've seen how these anonymous online interactions can just spiral so quickly into real-world tragedy, and how a seemingly normal college student, David Eisenhower, and his accomplice, Natalie Keepers, another student, how they orchestrated this horrific crime. I mean, the details are grim. Plotting over burgers and shakes at Cookout.
Yeah, I read that Cookout. So mundane.
Right. Then purchasing a shovel at Walmart. And then the disposal of Nicole's body 90 miles away. The evidence of premeditation was just overwhelming. GPS data, security footage, it all lined up.
Which brings us back to that profound and frankly unsettling question that Nicole's mother, Tammy Weeks, voiced so heartbreakingly. Why?
Exactly. Why?
Why would two intelligent college students harbor such intense hate, or whatever it was, for a 13-year-old girl, someone they barely knew in the real world?
It's almost incomprehensible.
Well, Natalie Keepers' confession offered a stated motive, didn't it? It involved David's fear of exposure for statutory rape.
Right. The age difference.
Yes, sexual activity with someone below the age of consent, which is illegal regardless of willingness.
Yeah.
And there was this mention of a possible pregnancy fear.
Which turned out not to be true, right?
Correct. Medically disproven later. But even taking that stated fear into account, the depth of the planning, the burger discussion, the shovel, the drive, it suggests something darker, maybe more unexplainable driving them.
Yeah.
You know, we often discuss how bullying, whether it's in person or online, can stem from the perpetrator's own insecurities. But maybe the most dangerous bullies are the ones in disguise, the ones who mask themselves as friends or like confidants online. What do you think this level of premeditation, especially from people with no known prior violent record, what does that tell us about the psychological impact of perceived online threats, even if they're distorted?
It paints a really disturbing picture, doesn't it? How a perceived threat, even if it's totally unfounded, like the pregnancy fear, how it can escalate into just extreme violence when it's coupled with profound lack of empathy and this calculated willingness to deceive. David Eisenhower, he was sentenced to 50 years in prison. He changed his plea to no contest for the first-degree murder charges. Natalie Keepers received 40 years as an accessory to murder.
Accessory before the fact, specifically, I believe, helping plan it.
Right, helping plan it. And the fact that Natalie, after the murder, texted David something like, "Get some sleep because you deserve it."
Oh, that detail is just chilling.
It shows such a disturbing detachment, doesn't it? This whole case is just a stark, terrible reminder of the profound vulnerability involved in trusting people you meet online, especially for young, impressionable people like Nicole, who, you know, often tend to see the good in others. They might not have the life experience, the dating experience maybe, to discern truly horrendous intentions hidden behind a screen name.
Indeed. The depth of planning, like you said, coupled with the apparent lack of a fully rational motive. It often points to more complex psychological drivers than just simple hate or fear of exposure. It really forces us to consider dynamics like, I don't know, shared delusion, maybe, or even sociopathic tendencies that can hide behind these seemingly normal facades, especially amplified by the perceived anonymity of online interactions.
Yeah.
And for you listening, it truly leaves us wondering, doesn't it? Beyond the obvious red flags, what are the more subtle behavioral cues, both online and maybe offline too, that might signal this kind of masked malice? And what tools or frameworks can we as a society maybe develop to better discern genuine connection from manipulative intent in this increasingly digital world we all live in? How well do we truly know the people we connect with online?